Good morning, maybe good afternoon, depending on what coast you're on. Hello, hello. My name is Jessie. I'm so happy that you are here with me today. We're going to be talking all things eXp Access, how to get started, how to share listings with your clients, and hopefully we'll answer some of your questions along the way. As you're joining in, we're going to give everyone just a minute or two to get settled. Drop us in the chat what you're up to today, where you're calling in from. I live in a rural part of South Carolina, right outside of Clemson, near the North Carolina border, Georgia, Tennessee, kind of that triangle of the upstate. So I'm excited to be here with all of you. We've got some people from Nashville. Frederick, you're my neighbor to the north. I'm just about an hour south of you. Beautiful, beautiful area. Hopefully it's cooling down for you up there too. It's really, really nice here, the weather today. Hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Austin, Texas, and Florida, California. Hello, hello. Richmond, Virginia. Beautiful place. Texas, Arlington. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it. Charlotte, Somerville, South Carolina. You're my neighbor too. How's it going? Fort Mill. You're really close to me, Brooke. I love it. Ontario, Canada. New York City, Spokane, Washington. Beautiful, beautiful lakes up there. I love it. DC, Montreal, Aspen, Wilmington, North Carolina. You're real close to me too, Harrison. I love it. All right. Let's go ahead and dive in now that I've got everyone's attention and we're talking about the lovely weather. I love it. Again, my name's Jessie. I'm your account director here on the Zenlist team. So whatever questions you have, I'm a really great person to contact with. You can email me at jessie@zenlist.com. I'm in our Slack channels, so join me there. You can reach out to me in Slack if you haven't already joined us there. You'll get some additional content, tips and tricks and things along the way to help us. So please join me on Slack. It's a very helpful tool to get connected to everyone, and you can email me, and we also have a really fantastic support team. I'll show you how to reach out to all of them. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So eXp Access is a platform that's going to combine all of the listing inventory available to you. So that includes everything that's in the MLS plus everything that eXp has available off of the market. And this is really unique because Zenlist is a nationwide tool for you. So all across the US and Canada, you can access this inventory and provide your clients with a better, more informed search tool. And so how do we do that? It's kind of arbitrary. There's a lot of marketing terms and it all sounds great, but what do I mean when I say all of that? There's essentially two sides of Zenlist that we're going to be talking about today. So unlocking all of that and really getting prepared for next year. This time of year, I really start to think about how do we get prepared for the new year? How do we really set ourselves up for success? I don't know about all of you. I'm sure you're all working through the holidays, but it does kind of slow down a little bit. Things get a little bit calmer. And then it's like January 1st, 9 a.m. Everyone's ready to, get back into it and hit the ground running. So what can we do in this time to help prepare ourselves? And we're going to talk about the tools that's available to you through Zenlist, that eXp Access interface, that initiative that eXp provides to all of you, what makes it special and how you can really utilize it in that new year marketing efforts and how you can continue to add really great value to your clients. So on the client management side, we're going to talk about how you share those listings with your clients, how you can collaborate with them directly in Zenlist, or to keep that platform just for yourself and share listings one-off to your clients. If you are working with them through that direct collaboration, you can see everything that they're up to. You'll get behavior insights for them, and you'll be able to follow along their journey all along the way. On the listing management side of things, if you do have a listing that's available off market, whether it be, a delayed listing date, that gets really popular this time of year too. You might have a client that's going to be available to list their home in the first part of the new year. You can take that in between time to share it with other eXp agents and have some showings if it's available or permitted in your MLS to get some eyes and build some excitement and hype on that listing before it hits the MLS. And we're going to talk about how to enter those and manage them if you fall into that category. So whether you're working with buyers, sellers, investors, someone who may not even be quite serious in the process, you can still use these tools to provide that value to them and set yourself apart from the competition so you can really use it to generate additional business for yourself in the new year. That's enough yapping. We'll go ahead and go into Zenlist. As a quick note, everything is available in the web application, which is what we're going to be seeing today. It's also available in the mobile app. So if you prefer to work from your phone or you want to follow along in the app, feel free to do so. You'll just search Zenlist in the App Store and we'll pop up. If you have questions along the way too, drop them in the chat or the comments and we'll be sure to address it. And we also have some time towards the end where we can talk about all those questions if you need any further clarification, anything like that. So what we're looking at here is kind of my Zenlist dashboard. This is my home base. I have my main navigation here on the left. If you're following along the mobile app, it's going to be across the bottom of your screen. We'll have our clients here that we're connected with, and then the listings that are beginning to populate based on that person's searches. So one important thing to note about Zenlist is that we are a private platform, a protected ecosystem. Your clients can't just download Zenlist and start searching. They have to be working with an agent who can provide them access to it. And specifically with those eXp off-market listings, those are only available through eXp agents. So you can add that value and, like I said, kind of set yourself apart from it. So to connect with your clients, you'll send them an invitation. This is going to say that Jesse wants to work with you on Zenlist. They'll actually create an account and they'll get connected to you here. They'll set up all of their preferences, and then you are the agent that they're connected with. They can't work with more than one agent at a time. We'll never share with them the listing agent's information. We do not sell clients as leads. No one's going to call them or email them. All of this information is safe to enter because all we're using it for is to get you connected to your clients. You can also invite that client off with a search. Now, going into our search tab, we'll have the map here of, we'll zoom out into the US. All these little black dots, those are just those listings that are consolidated. And we can start to build a search just like we would on, our MLS platform or any other search platform that we could be using at the time. We'll have a complete list of filters here so we can search for the specific property type. Maybe I'm just looking for single family homes. We can search for the different statuses so we can see all of the activity that's happened. We'll have bedrooms and bathrooms. Maybe my clients, they need a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. They need, at least one parking spot. We can go in and add all of those filters so that we can see how that's impacting the number of listings we're seeing. And then we can further hone that in using the locations up here at the top. So this is where you're going to search for your areas, zip codes, cities, towns, neighborhoods, school zones, or school districts. If you need that, you can search for the entire district or just the high school or elementary school. Whatever it is that you're looking for, you can search for those here as long as they're predetermined. And then if you need to create your own, you can custom draw those here over in the top left-hand side of your map. A couple questions on getting started. Joanna asked, is Zenlist in Okta? Yes, you can get started in Okta. You can also go right to Zenlist, whichever one makes more sense for you. Do we select our local MLS or do we select eXp when we're getting started? I would do eXp. That's what's going to get you connected to that database of listings. And then you can add your local MLS on top of that. So you can have both in the same account, but getting started with eXp is going to make sure you have all of the benefits available to you. And then yes, you can use it in Canada as well. Perfect. A couple more questions. What is our login if we go directly to Zenlist? Rachel, you'll make one. So you can choose to continue with Okta and have that be your sign-in method, or you can choose an email password. You can use your Google or Apple account, whichever one you prefer, but you're going to create it. So you'll verify who you are, and then it'll prompt you through those steps. So you can choose whichever one sings to your heart. Okay. I'm going to, in the top right corner of my map up here, I'm going to flip over to these different view options. So you'll have the map up here. These little squares, those are going to be the tile view. This is my personal favorite. And then you'll also have a list view, which will give you kind of a spreadsheet type view of those listings. You can customize the columns here and reorder them and whatever makes the most sense for you. But I like the tiles because you can flip through the pictures and get a good idea of what's going on in that search parameter. Clicking into a listing here, we're going to run through some of the details. So we'll have all of the photos that are available, everything that's been uploaded. We'll have the remarks. The agent information is a quick reminder. This is not shared with your clients. So all of this is available front and center for you. So you don't have to go digging for it, but it won't be shared with your clients. If they want to know more, they want to see the property, they'll go through you to do so. Details and amenities. There's a great mortgage calculator you can play around with. We pull in live interest rates each morning, but it can also be customized to whatever your clients are pre-approved for. Schools, property history down below if it's applicable. And I want to talk about this branded listing page because this is the very first thing I want to talk about when we're talking about how to share these with your clients, how to add that value. You don't have to invite your clients. I recommend it if it's a client that you're really seriously working with, if it's a client that's been searching for a while and they've seen everything on the MLS or everything on, the apps or whatever it may be. This could give them a little bit of an advantage or a leg up because they'll have inventory they're not seeing on those apps because they're the off-market properties. They're not available publicly. If it's a client you're just getting to know, maybe you just met them at an open house or you're waiting for them to sign that agreement, whatever the case may be, you can also send them those listings one-off. So this link here is going to be the easiest way to do it. You can click it, it'll copy that URL, and it's tied to you. So it's tied to your account, your name, it'll come from you. And when you send it to your clients, I'll open it in incognito. They'll see that listing information. Now, this is an upgraded version of this page, but it'll have all of that listing information so that they can review it, and you can send this in a text message, in an email thread. I don't recommend really using these anywhere publicly, especially if they're off market. If it's your MLS listing, it's a great tool for public marketing or social media. But when we're talking about those off markets, we're going to talk about it using it in that one-on-one direct communication to your clients. So even if you're not quite ready to take that step to send the invitation to your client, you can still share those listings with them as you see fit. And that is through this shareable branded listing page. It'll be on every listing that you see. It might say preview and share on your account. There's a couple different options, different branding levels, things like that. We have tons of recorded webinars talking about the different branding options. So you can choose whichever plan and path works for you and your business, but that link is going to be the best way to send those listings outside of the Zenlist ecosystem in an email or a text message to your clients. Now, if we choose to send them that invitation, we talked about how you could do that from that first screen. You can also save the search and do it at the same time. So if I just let's draw a shape. If I just drop a little square or a shape on my map here, I can click to save the search and send that invitation off here too. So what this will do is it'll essentially have all those listings populated in their account so that they can start looking through them. You've pre-populated this group of listings that might be a good fit for them, but they're also going to get updated each time something new happens. So even if there's nothing in their criteria that matches right now, maybe they've got really specific criteria and there's not a ton of inventory that fall into that category, you can still save the search for them. And as soon as a new listing matches their search criteria, they'll be notified for it. So it sends them everything that's available right now, but also ensures that they're going to get notified when something new hits the market or something new hits Zenlist for eXp. That way, they're the first to know. They're always in the loop about what's going on. And then once they accept your invitation, you'll have a client feed that looks something like this. So my client, Dolly Parton here, I know exactly what was sent to her on which days, what was sent to her, when it was sent, what changes were made to it. And I can also view her activity to see exactly what she's done. So what she's looked at, what she hasn't, maybe what she's seen or what she hasn't seen yet. And I can use this to guide the interactions I'm having with her. So if I know that I just got an email for this property and gosh, it's perfect for Dolly, but she hasn't looked at it yet, I can go ahead and send it to her and say, I don't want you to miss this. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want to go see it. And I can also use it to see some insights into what properties could be her favorite based on how many times she's clicked on it, what she's liking, what she's disliking. And all of this is interactive as well. So I can see, for instance, Dolly hid 2 listings about an hour ago. Hidden means not interested, dislike, thumbs down. The icon in Zenlist is going to be a little trash can. But I can click into these and see what is it about these properties that stand out to me. I can see what her preferences may be. Maybe she's not into this style of home. Maybe I've seen her hide a couple properties that look similar. And I can see what her preferences might be based on how she's liking and disliking properties. So there's a lot of really valuable information you get when you do send that invitation, and you can, like I said, follow along their journey, see everything that they're up to. But it's not necessary. Like I said, if you're not quite ready to take that step, you can always share those links through those public pages. It's a great, great tool. We've talked a little bit about client collaboration. There's so much we could go into. I simply do not have time, and your eyes would gloss over. So if you want to dive a little bit deeper into some of those client tools and that experience, uh, check out our Slack channel. We've got them there. Our support team would be happy to send them to you. We do one-on-one trainings, whatever it may be. So we're here to help, whatever it is we can do to help with if you want to dive deeper into any of those specific topics. But for the sake of our time today, I want to talk about this My Listing section, because this is actually where you're going to come to manage those listings if you have one. If you fall into that category where you've got an off market you need to enter, whether it goes into the MLS in the future or not, this is going to be where you do that. So all of your MLS listings will populate here automatically. They should, at least. And then if we need to add a new listing, we'll do that in the very top right corner of our screen here. It's going to prompt you through everything. So it's going to ask you, is it residential or commercial? For this example, we'll say it's residential. It's going to say, do you want to start a brand new listing, which is what I recommend for an office exclusive. And it's going to, like I said, prompt you through everything. So we'll say this is a residential sale. We'll say this is a single family home. And then we get to this screen, and this is going to have all of the fields that are optional for us to fill out. The red ones are going to be required, so we need to know where the property is. For instance, we need to know where it's located. But everything else is completely optional, so you can enter as much or as little information as you have about it. And this is one of the really nice things about those off-market properties is you don't need full listing information. The more you know, the better searchable it will be, the more confident we can ensure it's going to get in front of the people who are going to be interested in it. But if you don't have the exact square footage, you can leave it off. Or if your clients haven't decided on a list price yet, you can leave that off. It's not required. Again, I recommend it. We're not going to tell anyone if it had a price change when it goes into the MLS. That information stays inside of this eXp Access platform. But if you don't quite have it or we're not quite comfortable putting a price on it, you can leave it off. It's not going to be the end of the world. And as you start to add those fields, it's going to update the preview that we're seeing here. So we'll enter the address. I'm just going to make something up. We're going to need a status. This is going to be the status of your listing as an eXp office exclusive listing, so an off-market listing. Coming soon or active is going to be what you're going to want to choose. I recommend coming soon if it'll go into the MLS at some point in the future. I recommend active if it may not go into the MLS in the future, or maybe coming soon is also a really helpful tool if you'll have more information available in the future. So we're going to list it as soon as possible. And then tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to go in and add more information. That coming soon status might indicate some of that helpful information. And then we'll need bedrooms because it's residential, but I don't need bathrooms if I don't need to. You'll notice the list price is optional. It's not red, so we can leave that off if we need to. And then we'll need something in the public remarks. This is showed to both agents and clients. There's a separate section for private remarks if there's anything you need to share just agent to agent, but you just want something in here. It can be a full property description. It can be a couple words, whatever it may be that you're looking for. You're just going to want something here for agents and clients. And then as you fill out those fields, like I said, it's going to update your preview. You also don't need photos. Again, I recommend them. I always recommend photos. They're always helpful. Even if it's just a photo of the exterior, it's going to help in the searchability and the engagement you're seeing on your listing. But if you don't have them, you can click to review and publish. And it's going to verify we have all the information we need. And it'll publish it to that search. It'll automatically notify anyone that has a matching search for that area that matches your property. There's nothing you need to do to push it out to anybody. We do all of that automatically in the back end. And then if you need to come back and make any changes to those listings, you'll find them here and we can edit that listing as we need to. We'll also see what that activity looks like. This is not a real listing, so don't panic. There's nothing here because it's not a real listing. Yours will have some views and some hits on it as well, but we can come here to edit the listing if we need to make any changes, update the status, add some additional photos, whatever it may be that we need to do. This is going to be where we come to manage all of that. And that's all in your My Listings page here. Now, even if you don't have a listing that you're ready to enter just yet, I do recommend come in here and make a draft. Like I said, we're not going to send it anywhere. It stays right here. It's not going to go out to anybody unless you publish it. But that way you can play around with the interface a little bit and see what that experience feels like. You can enter, a draft for your home, and you don't have to publish it anywhere. No one's going to know that you used it as the draft. You can delete the draft after you've played around with it and you get comfortable. But that way you've got that information and you've got that product knowledge and that experience in order to call back on when you do have that listing. It's not as much of a panic when you need to know how to enter one, because you've already played around with it, you've figured it all out, and you've got that confidence. So that would be my recommendation for getting started, is play around with the search, go in and enter a draft listing, see what it all is about, click some of the buttons, and obviously ask our questions. So when you get stuck, because you will, we're going to answer the questions in the chat, in the comments. But if you need a little bit of help, or this evening, tomorrow, whenever you come back, if you have questions, there's a support button in the very bottom left corner of your screen. And this is how you get in touch with our support team. So you can send us a message, you can live chat with our team, we can send you resources. Like I said, we can schedule a one-on-one training if we need to. Whatever questions you or your clients have, concerns, feedback, suggestions, anything like that, we really do take very good care of all of it. I know a lot of companies say that. We keep very detailed logs of what our users are telling us they'd like to see, or what improvements we could make. And so don't be shy. And there are no silly questions, only questions we don't ask. So when you get stuck, this is going to be the best way to get your questions answered, the fastest way. Or you can also connect with me directly in Slack. I'm not as quick as our support team because I'm doing webinars and trainings like this all day, but I'd be happy to help you one-on-one if that would be beneficial for you. If it's not an urgent issue, reach out to me, find me in Slack, whatever it may be. All right, this is my last slide, and then we'll dive into questions. If you scan this QR code, it's going to take you to zenlist.com, where you can create your account. You can also download the Zenlist mobile app and get started. If you haven't created an account yet, you are going to actually sign up for one. So you'll choose that sign-in method. The easiest way to get started is to choose to sign in with your Okta credentials. That's going to verify that you're a member of eXp. It's going to get you connected to everything very, very quickly. The process takes about a minute or two when you consider all the verification codes and two-factor authorizations and things like that. So that's going to be the quickest way to sign up, but you can use any email address you prefer. You can use any account you like. If you are asked, like I mentioned earlier, to choose your MLS, you're going to choose eXp MLS listings in that drop-down menu. That's going to get you connected to that database of off-market listings. It's going to get you added to the eXp plan so that you can get started and see all of the free benefits that are provided to you at no cost. And we can always add your MLS later. You can have all of your markets in the same account as long as they're supported on Zenlist. So that's kind of my speech. Like I said, if you have questions or concerns, reach out to our support team, find me in Slack, and then we can start to dive into some of our questions. Yeah. So Nina asked, this was at the beginning, so I apologize, Nina. So you can test a price for an off-market home, but use it as an MLS active. You can test the price. We won't share it outside of that ecosystem. So it won't reflect a price change in any way when you do go active in the MLS if you need to. And you can use that to gauge what the interest may be. We'll send you the recording so you can watch it. It'll also get uploaded on YouTube, and I'm sure we'll share it in Slack too. So we'll make sure it gets to you if you missed out on anything. Helen asked a really good question. Is everything on Zenlist and off market? And this is a great, great question. So in your search tab, in the very top left-hand side, there's this drop-down menu that's going to show you the different buckets of listings. And so this is where things can get a little bit complex, because Zenlist is available to a lot of different agents, even if they're not a part of eXp. What makes eXp Access so special is that you have those off-market inventory in addition to what's inside of Zenlist. So in addition to what's on the MLS that everyone else in your area could have access to. And this drop-down menu up here, where it says searching eXp residential office exclusives, is what that long name says. You can select the source that you're searching. So inside of your account, you'll have the residential and commercial office exclusives. That's going to be everything that's off market. These are the ones that are manually entered into Zenlist, the off market listings from other eXp agents. But if you're in a market that is supported on Zenlist, like in the San Francisco Bay Area, if you're in Atlanta, the DC region, Bright MLS, Chicago, there's 35, 40 different MLSs that are on Zenlist, and we capture a good number of eXp agents in that local MLS category. So as long as your MLS is on Zenlist, you can also select to search it here. So I saw a couple people from the DMV DC area. Let's say that you're licensed in Bright MLS. So I can save a search for those office exclusives. That's going to be everything that's off market. And then I can also save a search for Bright MLS. And this is going to show me everything on the MLS regardless of what brokerage it was listed by. So this is that replacement for the MLS searches that you may have running, or, a replacement for whatever app it is that your clients may be using, those free apps that we're all on. So you can have those all, but they're not all going to be off market because this is pulling from the MLS data feeds. This is everything that's on the MLS. And you're going to control that using this source here. So depending on what source is selected when you save the search is going to determine whether or not it's an off-market listing. I hope that helps. It normally triggers some questions. So I hope I did a good job explaining that. If you have any other questions, let me know. But it's a little bit of a yes and no. A lot of them will be off markets, but a lot of them won't be. A lot of them will be coming directly from the MLS. Perfect. We talked about that. Talked about finding those. We talked about those different sources. That's probably the one thing that I think most people struggle with is that drop-down menu in the top left is selecting the source that those listings you're searching are coming from. Aaron said, I don't see add a listing link. Aaron, reach out to our support team. It might be a setting in your account we just need to enable. So I'll write that down. If we don't hear from you, I'll send you a quick message. Jotting that down. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. So our listing in MLS doesn't go directly into Zenlist. We need to add it manually in addition to adding it to our MLS. Great question. I don't recommend both. And the reason for that is in the same drop-down menu where we talked about the different sources, the different buckets of listings, depending on where they're coming from, there's also this eXp MLS listings. And this is everything that any eXp agent has on any MLS in the US or Canada. So if you enter that listing into your MLS, we're getting it automatically. We're getting it directly from eXp, so there's no need to enter it twice. Then you'll just have a duplicate and you'll have to stay on top of it, and it gets confusing, and we're going to forget about it. And then a year later, someone calls us about a property that we entered and we're like, we have no idea what you're talking about, right? So I recommend one or the other. You're going to either enter it into your MLS and have it as an MLS listing, or enter it into Zenlist as an off market. And it's important to also note that once that listing, if it does transition to the MLS, once it does go public, you're going to want to come and remove that off market listing. We don't automatically update it. There's a lot of technical nuances that go into that, and I'll save you the speech and the technical jargon, but we don't automatically pull them once you do go into the MLS. So that's why I don't recommend both. You're going to have to manually manage both of them. It can get sticky and we're going to forget about them. Things happen where life is too busy to manage two of those. So I recommend one or the other. Either enter it into the MLS and we'll get it from eXp, or manually enter it into Zenlist and then you'll manage it and remove it when you do go into the MLS if you do. Is the subscription waived for eXp agents? Great question. You do have a free starter plan. You can have all of your searches and enter as many listings as you need. You can work with up to 3 clients at a time in Zenlist at no cost. There are different upgrade options, but they're not required unless you're inviting dozens and dozens of clients. And I recommend get the most out of that starter plan. The details are all inside of your account. The different breakdowns and tiers are available for you to choose from. get the most out of that free starter plan as long as you can. And then when you need to upgrade, you do get discounts on any of the upgraded plans. So you can find all of that inside of your account page, but it is free to get started. You can stay on that free plan as long as you need to or as long as you like. I see a couple questions about coming soon status and, do you put it in the MLS? If it's coming soon, do I still put it into Zenlist? And a couple variations of that. I'm going to defer to your state broker team on those ones. There are too many MLSs, and I'm just not a compliance expert on it. So I don't want to steer you in any wrong direction. If you have any questions about the coming soon status, if your MLS has them, or the different rules and regulations and different guidelines for office exclusive or off market listings in your local market, check with your state broker team. There are tons of resources, and all of the documents are in SkySlope as well. So there's lots of resources available to you, but I don't want to point you in the wrong direction. And I also don't want you to think I'm ignoring your questions. So if those were one of the questions that you dropped in the chat, I would check with your state broker team the next time you can and see what they recommend. Brooke asked a good question as well. Can you set up a search with several sources combined? You cannot. At this time, we can't commingle them. So if you wanted a client to receive, for instance, let's pretend you're in DC, everything in Bright MLS so that they're not using any of the other public apps and you don't have to set them up in your MLS portal, you'll set up one for Bright and then you'll create an identical one for the Office exclusives. And then they'll appear to your client as if it was one search. So they're not going to get duplicated emails or anything like that. When your client is interacting with their feed, everything is kind of funneled into this one space. So they're not going to have two different places to check. They won't have, like I said, any of those duplicated emails. They're just going to come here to see everything, and they'll be sorted by, the newest on the top and the oldest at the bottom. I think this client has a couple. Yeah. So on this client's feed, they haven't been active in a while, but we can see the saved searches. And there's one for New Jersey, one for Arlington, one for Phoenix. And then one that I made for a test I was probably running. So all four of these searches are going to funnel into all of these results. So when I'm looking at what was sent to this client today, there are these four listings. I don't really know which search they came from. I just know that they matched one of their searches. I can see which ones are labeled as an Office exclusive. And if it doesn't have that Office exclusive label, it'll come from that MLS search that I saved for them. But that way they're experiencing it as if it was a good single search. And then if we need to further divide that out, we can click on, maybe it's just these Phoenix ones. If I click on that saved search, I can see everything that just matches that search criteria. So it'll feel as if it's one, give your clients a really good, smooth experience, but we can further divide it out if we need to see what matches a specific criteria, or divide them out and filter them in that way. Great question. Clients usually ask for just off-market properties. So if we get nothing from the eXp filters, that means we don't have any off-market properties for them. That's correct, Shannon. Sharon, sorry. My apologies. That's what that means. So if you're in your search tab and you're seeing 0 results, it just means that there's nothing that matches your criteria right now. I would still save the search, and you can save it under your name so that you're the one that's notified and you can forward those listings on to your clients as you see fit. But that way, when you save the search, even if there's nothing in it yet, you'll be notified when there is something that matches, and you don't have to continuously run the search every day or every week. You can kind of have it in the background running, and that notification will come to you. If you save it under the client's name, it'll let you know who it's intended for and things like that. So even if there are 0 results right now, it doesn't mean there won't be any in the future. And so I always recommend save the search, and you'll get those notifications. Just sign a contract, but not listed until next Wednesday. Should I add the listing here as an off market, then remove it on Wednesday when I list in the MLS? It's completely up to you. For that listing, again, check with your state broker team, check with the different documents that are needed. Some MLSs and markets require different forms to list as an office exclusive and some don't. So I don't want to just say yes, stamp of approval. Again, I'm just not a compliance expert and I don't want to steer you in any wrong direction. So check on that. And if you don't need an extra signature or an exemption form or anything like that, you can go ahead and enter it into it. And then you can, like I said, always just keep it in the back pocket. The next time you have a listing come up, you can have that conversation with your clients and see, do they want to have it pre-listed as an off market for a few weeks or a couple days, whatever it may be. Most of the time that they do get transitioned to the MLS at some point in the future. It just depends on the clients. It depends on the circumstances. It depends on the time of year too, honestly. I mean, if you're meeting with a client in the beginning of December, they might not want to list in the MLS until the first of the year. So you can use that month of December to gain some height and experience on it. So check with your state broker team. I hate giving that answer because it feels like a non-answer, but it's the best place to check as far as whether you need any additional paperwork before you enter anything. If you don't see your local MLS, fear not, you're going to choose eXp when you're creating your account. When you're signing up, you're going to choose eXp MLS listings in the options. If I go to my MLS memberships, I've got 1,000 in here you're going to look for this one. So you're going to look for the one named eXp MLS listings, and that's what gets you added to the eXp plan and all of those off-market listings. It's kind of like eXp's own little MLS. It's not at all an MLS, so I don't make that direct comparison, but that's what's going to get you added to their plan and all of that inventory. So if you don't see your local MLS, I saw Hive in there in one of the drop downs, or Alberta MLS, fear not, you're going to choose eXp in place of your local MLS, and that's what's going to get you added to everything. Perfect. And then you are on, it's the starter plan. As far as the plan and the branding, I wonder, I don't have it here. I've got a good graphic that can show you those plan options. Here we go. So this is what those plan options are. This is available in your account. It's in much more detail inside of your account page, but these are those different plan options. You're on that free starter plan. That's what eXp provides to all of their agents. And there's a lot in it. Like I said, you can have up to 3 clients at a time. If someone closes, you can delete them and replace them. It's kind of a revolving 3 client limitation. And you can have as many searches saved under your own name as well. So if you're not quite ready to take that step and invite a client, you can save it under yours and then forward those listings to your clients through those public branded pages. And that way you're not claiming any of those client seats if you don't need to be. And then you do get discounts on all of the different upgrades. So if the branding is important to you, you do get a discount on that monthly rate. It would be the Pro plan. It's $33 a month for eXp, cancel anytime, all that fun stuff. But I do very strongly recommend, I hit my microphone. Start on that free account, start on the free starter plan. Invite one client just to see what it's like. It doesn't have to be a real client either. If you've got a good friend or a partner, a roommate, someone you trust, someone in your family that can be that first test client for you, I always recommend invite a real person instead of yourself. That's kind of our first instinct is, oh, I'll just invite my personal email. But then you have to sign in and sign out and it can get sticky. So if you've got a real person, someone you're close to that you can invite as your first test client, you can delete them when you're ready, when you've got your sea legs and you're nice and comfortable. But that way you can get a good idea of what it's like to be on Zenlist, what your clients experience. And if they don't come from a real estate background as well, they'll give you a good authentic understanding or a good review of what they thought of the interface as well, and give you some good foundational understanding as well. So you're on the free starter plan. All of this is in your account. By no means, I'm not trying to sell you on anything or that pro plan, but that way you can make the most informed decision. Use that free plan as long as you can is what I would recommend. Perfect. I can only see a few listings in Canada. Zenlist and eXp Access has always been in the US and Canada. We have more traction in the States, but it's always been available in Canada as well. So I would just, like I said, save that search and you'll get notified when there is something new that matches that criteria. Mark asked, how do you change back to eXp listings if you choose your first MLS by mistake? Send us a message, Mark. So inside of your account, let me take a step back here. Hang on. Zoom back in. Inside of your account, there's a support button. If you're on the mobile app, it's inside of your account. It'll say contact support. Send us a support message. You can live chat with us and just tell them tell them that you need eXp added to your account and we can get it all sorted for you in the back end. It'll just take a minute or two. So don't worry, Mark. We can take care of it for you. If we delete a client, does that reopen one of the 3 free seats? Yes, it does, Kelly. So if you delete a client, you can replace them with someone new, a new couple, a new family, or whatever it is that you need. I love that too. Kelly said, if you aren't seeing enough eXp exclusives, spread the word so more of our eXp agents add their off-market listings. That's what I'm trying to do. I appreciate that effort, Kelly. There definitely is. There's a lot of you. It's hard to track all 80, 90,000 of you guys down. And I meet people every day who haven't heard of Zenlist. Going on 2 years now since we launched with eXp. So spreading the word, using it, recommending it, using it yourself definitely helps. And if there's something I can do to help support you in those efforts, let me know. I'm here at your disposal if there's something I can do. I appreciate it. Amazing. I think I got everything. I caught back up. We're now at the live. I'll go back to my pretty QR code. If you haven't already, you can sign up at zenlist.com. You can download the Zenlist app in the App Store, the Google Play Store, available on all of your different devices. If you have questions, reach out to our support team. My email is jessie@zenlist.com, Jessie with an IE. You can email me there. Like I said, I'm also in Slack. So if you haven't joined our Slack group yet, you can find all of us there. You can share your listings in that group, ask questions, suggest topics and different things that we can do. Anything we can do to help, let us know. And that Slack group will be a good place for us. Is this recorded, Sharon? Yes, you'll get the recording from us. It'll be available. Perfect. All right, I think I got everything. Joanna, you can connect Zenlist to your CRM. That's going to be inside of your account. We've got some articles and stuff we can send you on that. You'll just go into account and then it's under integrations. You can connect it through there. All right, my friends, what is our Slack channel called? I think it's eXp Trusted Provider, eXp Access. There's a link. Teen dropped a link. She's wonderful, by the way. Small round of applause for Teen. She does a lot behind the scenes and she's fantastic. She dropped the chat or the link directly inside of there we go. Amazing. Isn't she wonderful? So you can find us in Slack and I'm in there. So you can chat with me. You can DM me in Slack as well. So thank you again, my friends. Wonderful, wonderful questions. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope this was helpful. I appreciate your patience staying with me a little bit over our designated 30 minutes, but I do hope it was time well spent. If there's anything else I can do to help, reach out, let me know. Don't be shy. And I hope that everyone has a really wonderful Tuesday afternoon. Go get some lunch, refill your coffee maybe. And I can't wait to hear what you guys think about Zenlist. So we'll talk to you soon. Have a good afternoon.